Today's children can access everything in the world with just one tap. But the life of children in the 60s felt a little different, and it was definitely no less interesting and exciting. Let's reminisce together about what made our childhood so happy. Number 1. Baseball cards. Whether it was the crack of the bat at a neighborhood game or the thrill of finding a Mickey Mantle tucked away in a fresh pack, baseball cards were more than just collectibles. Children of the 60s collected them, exchanged them, and tucked them into bike spokes for that satisfying fluttering sound. These weren't just pictures, they were badges of honor, traded with the solemnity of diplomats and coveted like treasure. Number 2. Etch-a-Sketch. Turning those two white knobs was akin to wielding a magic wand. You could draw anything you wanted, and if you didn't like what you drew, you could quickly erase it and start again right away. It's just a shame that there was no save button back then, but maybe it was for the best. Number 3. Marbles. Who could forget marbles? Those shiny little spheres weren't just toys, they were like precious gems in the schoolyard. Aggies, cat's eyes, shooters, collecting them was just half the fun. The real magic was in the circle, squinting an eye and flicking a finger to knock your opponent's marble out of the ring. It was a real gamble for a child of the 60s. Number 4. Rat Fink Collectibles. These grotesque, wild-eyed figures designed by Ed Big Daddy Roth were a cheeky middle finger to the mainstream. Collecting them was like joining a secret club, where the weirder and wilder the figure, the cooler you were. Rat Fink was the anti-Barbie, a toy that said it was okay to be different, to be bold, to be a little bit rebellious. Number 5. G.I. Joe action figures. These weren't dolls, they were action figures, soldiers of fortune that could parachute into the backyard or dive into the bathtub. With a kung fu grip and an arsenal of accessories, G.I. Joe was ready for anything. Every figure was a hero, a protector, the best kind of friend who'd stick by you through every backyard brawl and sandbox skirmish. Number 6. Super Balls. With one bounce of a Super Ball, you were defying gravity. Those tiny, unassuming balls packed a wallop of kinetic energy, ricocheting off walls and soaring higher than any regular old rubber ball. Remember tossing it down and then scrambling as it zoomed unpredictably in every direction? It was a real piece of unbridled energy. Number 7. Yo-yos. The yo-yo wasn't just a toy, it was a skill to master. Walk the dog, rock the baby, or shoot the moon. Every trick had a cool name and an even cooler motion to match. When you got that yo-yo spinning just right, you felt like the coolest kid on the block. And let's not forget the battles for supremacy during recess, seeing whose sleeper could last the longest. Number 8. Lincoln Logs. Before we had virtual building games, we had Lincoln Logs. Building cabins and forts piece by piece was not just fun, it was an early taste of engineering. But we just thought of it as making epic hideouts for our toy soldiers or action figures. Number 9. Electric football games. Electric football was like being a quarterback and coach all in one. You'd set up your plays, flick the switch, and watch the little vibrating field come to life, sending players scrambling in all directions. The hum of the board was the soundtrack to many a dramatic last-minute touchdown. Number 10. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. These robots were tough, with the blue bomber and red rocker ready to duke it out at your fingertips. The goal? To knock your opponent's block off. Quite literally. When that head popped up, you knew you had the bragging rights. Until the next match, at least. Number 11. Cap guns. Remember the thrill when you pulled the trigger and that loud pop echoed through the air? Cap guns were the ultimate roleplay accessory. Whether you were the sheriff in town or the cowboy in the backyard, when that small puff of smoke wafted up, you were instantly transported to the Wild West. Number 12. Viewmaster with reels. Click, click, and you were on a safari, or maybe in space. Flipping through those reels was like having a mini movie theater right in your hands, with each new disc promising a journey to exotic lands filled with dinosaurs, astronauts, or your favorite cartoon characters. Number 13. Tonka trucks. These metal marvels could handle any terrain your backyard could throw at them. Sand pits became construction sites, and mud puddles turned into treacherous swamps for rescue missions. No matter how many times they tumbled or got left out in the rain, they just kept rolling on. Number 14. Operation Game. Who knew a buzzer could make you jump so high? Operation was that thrilling and slightly nerve-wracking game where you turned surgeon, wielding a tiny pair of tweezers in a quest to remove Cavity Sam's ailments. Steady hands were a must as you tried to avoid the dreaded buzz of the sides. It was a game of concentration and dexterity that could have everyone holding their breath in suspense. Number 15. Sea monkeys. The excitement of pouring the packet into the water and waiting for your very own colony of sea monkeys to hatch was like nothing else. Okay, so they were actually brine shrimp, but to any kid, they were a bustling underwater circus. Watching those little swimmers dart around made you feel like the ruler of a tiny, mysterious kingdom. Number 16. Matchbox cars. These tiny metal vehicles came in every make and model imaginable. The kitchen floor became your racetrack, and those cars could endure countless high-speed chases and epic crashes and still come out ready for more. Number 17. Creepy crawlers. You'd pick the molds, pour in the goop, and heat them up. Once they cooled, you had an army of icky insects to scare your sister with. It was part mad science, part art, and all fun. Number 18. Moon shoes. Bouncing around like an astronaut in low gravity? Moon shoes were mini trampolines for your feet, turning every hop into a lunar leap. Sure, they were a twisted ankle waiting to happen, but the risk was part of the thrill. Number 19. Johnny 7 OMA, One-Man Army. This was the Swiss Army knife of toy guns. 7 weapons in one. Bang bang, you're the neighborhood Rambo. A rifle, grenade launcher, anti-tank rocket, and more rolled into one. You'd lug this beast around, and everyone knew you meant business. Number 20. Ant farms. A slice of nature right on your desk, with tunnels carved by your tiny 6-legged pets. You'd watch them work tirelessly, hauling sand grain by grain. It was a mesmerizing peek into the insect world, a real-life nature documentary behind a pane of glass. Number 21. Slinky. Imagine a simple coiled spring, capable of walking down stairs all by itself with just a nudge to get started. The Slinky was a mesmerizing sight, tumbling end over end with a smooth, fluid motion that could keep kids and adults captivated for hours. Whether it was used as a toy, a physics lesson, or just a cool desk ornament, the Slinky embodied simplicity and fun in one shiny metallic spiral. Number 22. Easy Bake Oven. This was no ordinary toy. It was a pint-sized oven that actually baked real treats using just a standard light bulb. The Easy Bake Oven was a magical introduction to cooking for many young chefs and a delightful way to mix, bake, and taste your own creations. From cakes to cookies, it turned snack time into a fun and delicious occasion. Number 23. Mousetrap. The game Mousetrap wasn't just about rolling dice and moving pieces on a board. It was a chain reaction adventure where players built a complex machine designed to trap opponents' plastic mice. The thrill of building the contraption and the suspense of waiting to see if the trap would spring added layers of excitement and a dash of engineering intrigue to game night. Number 24. Cox gas-powered model cars. Far from your average toy cars, these models were powered by actual gas engines and were capable of racing at impressive speeds. Cox gas-powered model cars were not only toys, but hobbies, sparking interest in mechanics and engineering for the young and the young at heart. Racing these cars was thrilling, bringing a bit of the racetrack right to your backyard. Number 25. Stingray bikes. With their banana seats and tall handlebars, Stingray bikes were the epitome of cool. Their unique design was instantly recognizable and highly coveted among the youth. These bikes didn't just get you from point A to point B, they did it with style and flair, making every ride an adventure and every rider the coolest kid on the block. Number 26. Vroom engine. Back in the 1960s, when the allure of motorcycles and fast cars captured everyone's imagination, the Vroom engine turned any ordinary bicycle into the coolest ride in the neighborhood. This ingenious toy was essentially a noise-making engine that mounted right onto your bike, mimicking the sound of a motorcycle engine. The moment you attached this bad boy to your bike and twisted the throttle, you were no longer just pedaling down the street. You were revving a motorcycle, complete with all the sounds and excitement of the open road. These were our memories of childhood in the 60s, And now watch our other videos if you want to immerse yourself in this sweet nostalgia even more.